Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today I'm going to take a look at some of the, couple more of the mint sets that we actually got in the auctions in September. We're going to take a look at the 1970 and the 1976. And I'm going to start off with the 1970, of course. The highlight of that one is really the 1970 Denver Kennedy half dollar. And the cool part about this is the very first NIFC for the half dollars. NIFC, of course, is the acronym for Not Intended for Circulation, NIFC. So the only way that you could get this particular coin was to get this mint set. This is also the last time that they struck the 40% Kennedy half dollar for circulation. Well, I shouldn't say circulation. Actually, it would be a business strike. Because, of course, like I just said, this one's not intended for circulation. But we can see a pretty decent bag mark going right there below the D in God. Pretty strong hit on the nose. Bridge of the nose, I should say. Usual scrapes on the ear. Again, it's not a circulated coin, but all of this happens either in the minting process or post-mint process handling, I should say. Or it can also happen through mishandling by the previous owners of this mint set. See if I can tone down some of that glare. Not terrible though. And it's 40% silver, so I'm okay with it. Take a look at the quarter. And that right there is a really good example of some of the damage that you can see on the cellophane. Let me see if I can move that guy a little bit so we can get that nasty crease mark out of there. We can get a look at the coin a little bit better. Yeah, it's a decent looking quarter. Take a look at the nickel. And remember, 1970 full steps is still an odd occurrence. Try to get some of that glare off of there. It's really hard to deal with these LEDs in this scope. Dime. Try to get a better look at that. And the penny. Take a look at the reverse of the Denvers. It's like a little bit of strike doubling. And actually, it almost looks like it could be from a degraded die. Older die state. Nope, that's strike doubling. Yep, definitely strike doubling. There on the left side of the T, the A, the S, this T, the E, pretty much all of the script in states, most of it in United. And then as we go, it kind of goes away. Okay, take a look at the quarter. Again, sorry about that glare from the cello. That's why I kind of try to move it around so much so I can get rid of that glare. Look at different devices on the coin. Quarter's a decent strike. Not great, but I mean it's a little bit better than a lot of them that you see from this time period. And that cent has a really strange looking FG. I'm going to look into that a little bit further too. Almost looks like the F is just like a partial F, like a tiny F. The whole thing looks kind of strange to me, so I'm going to look at that a little bit better and see if that's normal. But I don't see any doubling. Nothing odd. Dime, definitely not full bands. Nope. Alright, let's take a look at the nickel. Let's see how many steps we got. As soon as I can get it out of the glare. Somehow. There we go. We can kind of see them there. Yeah, it's got like one full... well, it's got like 2 steps struck on it, but neither one of them are full steps. You can see a break right here. And then, of course, this one ends right here. Picks up again here, but... Yep. Definitely not full steps. Alright, 1970 Philadelphia. Take a look at the quarter. We can go through these a little bit faster. Nickel. Yes, nickel. I might take a closer look at that mint mark. All right. Nothing fancy on the dime. Let's move that penny a little bit. There's a lot of damage on the plastic that these are in. Eesh, terrible. Terrible. But, not seeing any kind of an anomaly there. Man. Let's try this again. San Francisco. Strike. Really hard to see with all that damage. Yeah, we'll take a little bit closer look on those guys too. Nothing apparent on the reverse of the quarter. However, that is a nicely struck quarter. Decent amount of detail in the tail feathers. Feather detail in the breast, not bad for a 70. And it's an older die, it looks like, too, which is kind of strange. But, not a bad coin. And reverse of the pennies. Yeah, I guess that FG is probably normal on the other one. If you look there, the F is kind of strange looking on that too, so... I don't think that's anything abnormal. Could be just something that I've never noticed before, for one reason or another. Yeah, that one's the same way. Designer's initials are the same on all of them, so we're going to say that's normal. Trying to get it out of the light there. There we go. Alright. This one's a little bit closer to full bands than the Denver strikes, but still not quite there because of this right here. Looks like there's a termination in the band, actually termination in the entire band, so I don't think that's going to qualify. But if we thought it was full bands, of course, it would be one of those things where it would be worth taking out of the cello and actually looking at it closely. And this nickel is terrible. It's got a couple of steps showing, but this is definitely a very old die state. I mean, it just looks, again, it looks mushy. You can see all the metal flow. Another great example of terrible die state. That's a shame because it has a really nice looking tone on it, but yeah, die state is awful. Alright, on to the 76. Really cool looking toning on these. Nothing special there. Nice deep copper looking color on the penny. Okay, strike on the dime. Decent looking strike on the nickel. And then the quarter has some really nice looking eye appeal. Lots and lots of mint luster, but it also has a little bit of a gold tone to it. It's kind of hard to tell in the scope, but it's kind of an okay strike on the obverse. Not bad. Of course, then we have the Eisenhower dollar. Not so impressive. Lots and lots of nicks and scrapes there underneath his ear, on his neck, his jowl. Yeah, not so bueno. Alright. Back to the cent. Nothing fancy. $50. $50 is a decent strike. The very top of the spire there isn't floating. A lot of times you'll see these and you'll see that there's none of this there on a lesser strike. Bag marks. Typical And then this right here, of course, is just in the plastic. You could even see it move when I touch the plastic. So we know that's in the plastic. Dime, not split bands. Looks like a little bit of strike doubling there in America. So we should see some in United. Opposite of it, and we do. Right there. Okay, let's take a look at the quarter. Quarter's an okay strike. And for me anyways, the biggest indicator of strike on a bicentennial quarter is going to be the very top or front edge of this drum right here. The more struck that is, obviously, the better the actual strike itself is. I've found some where almost this entire face of this drum is completely unstruck. So this one's not so bad. Still missing some details. You can see here, a little bit there, but it's not a bad strike. Eisenhower dollar. And of course, this is the Type 2. The one that was actually struck in 1976, as you can tell by the bottom of this S right here. It's got the more plain looking tail, the last S in States. I did a video on that too, if you guys want to check that out. Just so you can kind of tell the difference between a Type 1 and a Type 2. Decent strike, not in the best of shape. Again, not circulated, but not very well cared for at the mint. And again, probably not very well cared for by the previous owner. Alright, let's take a look at the Denver. Take a look at the quarter. Quarter's not a bad looking strike at all. Okay. Nothing fancy. Denver $50. That's a pretty good looking coin. So far, so good. We'll take a look at the reverse of it, but that looks like that could be potentially a pretty high mint state coin. A little bit of a nick back here behind his head. Couple of marks here below the bust, or on the very bottom part of the bust, but not bad. We might actually take a little bit of a closer look at that one. Nickel. Nothing spectacular. Eisenhower dollar. Nothing that's going to make him worth money. Bicentennial. We're going to take a better look at that, because that actually looks like it could be strike doubling. It's kind of hard to tell. Probably strike doubling, but look at how crooked that mint mark is. That's one of the fascinating things about how they added the mint mark to the die after everything was said and done. Someone actually hand punched that Denver mint mark onto the working die for these coins and did not put it on there very straight. Kind Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be worth any more money, but stuff like that just fascinates me. I mean, that's kind of a cool little anomaly. Yeah, that's probably strike double. You can see the top of the T there. But we're going to look at it a little bit better. $50. Trying to get the reflection out of there. Yeah, $50. That's a decent looking coin. That looks like that's probably on the cellophane. Yep, it was. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a decent looking $50. Even the fields are fairly clean. Decent amount of detail in the strike. Alright, we'll take a better look at that one. Decent looking penny as well. Dime, not split bands for sure. Beautiful looking coin though. Let's take a look at the quarter. Yeah, that's another decent strike. See again, missing these parts right here on the very top of the drum. Fair amount of post minting damage. But pretty looking coin. Eisenhower dollar. Pretty bad hit right there on the bell. Yeah, it's got a few nicks on it. Unfortunately. Again, type 2. A plain tail S. Okay. The nickel definitely does not have full steps. See again, there you're missing a lot of detail. The very bottom part. We'll check out the S mint mark on the 1970. Yeah. There's unfortunately nothing there. Okay, so that one's normal. Let's check out the 1976D $50 real quick. Just to see if we can see anything super damaging. It's an okay strike. It's not that good of a strike though. Which is a shame because it's in really good shape. There's not a lot of the usual scrapes and scuffs and things like that on the ear like you see on a Kennedy $50. A little bit there on the R. But all in all, it's not a bad coin. It's just not the best strike. A little bit of detail missing on the very bottom of this building, Independence Hall. But it doesn't have a lot of damage. It's a little bit here and here. But it's a decent looking bicentennial. And then, something that I wanted to take a really good look at here was this really weird mint mark see if I can get a good look at it without all that glare. Yeah, that thing is super crooked. And unfortunately, this is definitely strike doubling, because there is some of it right here on top of the demint mark, which wouldn't be there if it was actual doubling. So it's not a true double die. I mean, it's neat looking. They call it the poor man's double die because it's just not... It's not valuable like a regular double die. This is actually from the striking process of the coin, so it's not like it's technically an error. And then you can also see it on the top of the T here. So, unfortunately, not a true double die. Alright. But that's all we got for you today, guys. I'll probably break it up a little bit and do something a little bit different than keeping on going through all of these mint sets for the next video. But, of course, that'll be out in a couple of days. Until then, guys, love you all. God bless. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you soon.